5th, 2025, and it's 6:30. Tonight we have a special Pledge of Allegiance by the troops, a Boy Scout troop with lead as us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Gentlemen, please come forward.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, we have the informational reports from town manager. Do you want to, are you dialed in, you think? Okay, all right. Need some roller skates?
Thank you, sir. The monthly activity report from the previous month is in your packet. If there's any questions with the report or anything in it, I would be happy to answer those.
Hearing no questions, we'll move to a presentation, and I'd like for Bill Davidson to come to the podium, please. This is a resolution of appreciation. Whereas Mr. Bill Davidson, a resident of Smithfield, proudly served the citizens of Smithfield as an appointed official for 13 and a half years. And whereas Mr. Davidson was appointed by Town Council to serve on the Smithfield Planning Commission on November the 4th, 2008, to fill an unexpired term. When the unexpired term ended January 2012, he was reappointed and continued to serve until January 2020. Mr. Davidson was then later reappointed to the Planning Commission in January 2023 and served until July 2025. Over the course of these 13 and a half years, Mr. Davidson served 4 years as Vice Chair and 3 years as Chair of the Smithfield Planning Commission. And whereas during his time, Mr. Davidson demonstrated excellent leadership, qualities in local government on the Smithfield Planning Commission with numerous accomplishments to benefit the town of Smithfield. And therefore, be it resolved that I, Michael G. Smith, Mayor of the town of Smithfield, on behalf of the town council, wish formally to extend Mr. Davidson on this second day of September. I know it's not the second day, but this is when this was written. I just want to clear that up. He was not unable to attend at that time. Our sincere appreciation for his dedication on local, loyal service to the town of Smithfield as a member of the Smithfield Planning Commission for more than 13 years. And be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the permanent records of the town of Smithfield, and that a suitable copy therefore be delivered to Mr. Davidson. Signed, Mayor Mike Smith.
First of all, I'd like to thank the town council, and I've appreciated this time working with y'all, especially with Tammy and her staff, which I consider maybe the best staff we've ever had in my 13 and a half years. And Leslie, who has been a rock. She's been there forever. As some of you may know, I've been fighting cancer for the past couple of years. I had a PET scan 2 weeks ago, and it came back 100% all clear. There is no
Thank you, Bill. All right, this time we have a presentation from Jersey Park Rehabilitation, Chase Powell.
That's what we were trying to set it up. We made the decision to pull the plug, and he will come in person when he's feeling better in December.
Okay. Moving along, we have public comments. We have one person signed up, Mr. Small.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Prior to the meeting, I passed out photographs of the condition of 1502 Magruder Road as it is today after the cleanup of the debris. It turned out as they were doing the removal of the debris that the fire box and chimney are so well built that they were not damaged in the fire, so they were left because it is the intent to rebuild. And based on my review of the Chesapeake Bay Overlay District zoning rules, where there's been a casualty loss, which would be a loss by fire, it says that they shall be allowed to rebuild as long as they do that in the same footprint that they previously had. So that's the other reason why the foundation was kept, so that upon the rebuild, it'll be in the same foundation. But on behalf of the Harrises, I'd like to thank council for its unending patience and apologize for frustration over the last several months, but I'm glad that we're finally at this point, and I'm glad that it was able to be done without the town having to spend any money. And I'm here to answer any questions. Oh, and I want to thank you all for letting me participate in writing in October so that my mother could be at her lake place in Maine. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, just a comment, if I could.
Yes, please.
Very, very briefly, these pictures do actually represent exactly what's over there because, as you well know, I've been keeping kind of a close eye on the project based on the input that I've received from neighbors and things such as that. So I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Small. You know, very seldom do we have attorneys and folks that go through situations like this that keep us as briefed as Mr. Small has during the course of the last year or whatever. And I'd just like to express my appreciation to him as someone that's from the neighborhood or whatever and picks up the calls or whatever for his dedicated attendance to the meetings and the briefings that we've received. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments for Mr. Small at this time? Hearing none, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Have a good evening. And if you could, Madam Clerk, could you note on here that it's 1502 Magruder Road? I forgot to do that. I will. Thank you. Have a great evening.
There's no one else signed up. If there's anyone who'd like to speak at this time, please feel free to come to the podium. Hearing none, we'll move to council comments. Does council have any comments at this time?
I have three observations that I'd like to say, Mayor Smith.
All right, thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to recognize Katrina Johnson, who is president of the Isle of Wight Chamber of Commerce. She's present tonight with one of the students that are in the Leadership Institute, and I'd like to welcome them to our meeting. The other comment that I like to say, I like to commend Michael and Chief Howell and the police department for sitting down and collaborating with Smithfield High School and mapping out a road map for the Smithfield High School's homecoming parade that was agreeable to both parties. And so I'd like for the community to think that we are a partner and will try to resolve problems with them. Thank you for that. And then the last announcement that I'd like to make is the Riverside Smithfield Hospital is having a community open house on December the 7th, which is a Sunday, and it's from 1 to 4. And I like to see as much of the community to turn out as possible. And they are having special activities for children, if that'll make a difference for parents. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Hearing no other council comments, we'll move to the consent agenda items. Finance Chair, Jeff Brooks, please.
Yes, sir. This evening, we have 5 invoices needing council approval. First one, RDA Systems, $41,750. Second, Virginia Control and Electrical for $51,506.27. Also, Virginia Control and Electrical, $67,322.88. Also, Virginia Control and Electrical, $26,800 even. And lastly, Isle of Wight County for IT Services, $40,500 even.
That's the end. No other items on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
And a motion to approve the town council summary minutes from October as well.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Please call for the question.
Councilwoman Butler,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biedermeyer,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilman Cutler,
Yes.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
At this time, we have 3 public hearings. The first one is a special use permit. Ms. Clary?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. The applicant is seeking an SUP for a commercial recreation facility offering jiu-jitsu. The staff report elaborates on the target audience, and the applicant also submitted a letter that is on the agenda as well. They will have approximately 2 employees and will be open in the evenings, Monday through Thursday, early mornings, Monday and Wednesday, and Saturday mornings. This would bring an additional business into town, but it is not a by right use and does require an SUP. Planning Commission did favorably recommend this application to Town Council. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the will of council?
Mr. Mayor, pursuant to the recommendation by the Planning Commission, as well as the data that we've been provided, I make a motion that we approve the application.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, call for the question, please.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler,
Yes.
Councilman Cutler,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biedermeyer,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Aye. At this time, we have another public hearing by Ms. Clary, and this is another special use permit on Smithfield Plaza.
Yes, thank you. The applicant is seeking an SUP for a service station within the existing parking lot of the Kroger. There will be 5 double pumps and feature an 8 by 22-foot kiosk for the attendant. The fuel center will operate 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. It would bring an additional gas station into town, but it is not a by right use and does require an SUP. Planning Commission did favorably recommend this application to Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clary. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this matter? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the will of council, please?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other further discussion?
Mr.
Hearing
Mayor,
none? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just one comment that I would like to reiterate to the folks from Kroger. I have seen a few more comments, and one other benefit that it would lead to having a charger there. Again, I charge at home; it doesn't benefit me, but getting customers into your store. If you ever travel in an EV, you'll see many chargers in a Target or a Walmart parking lot because they go in there and shop while they charge. So another benefit is something that we don't have in town. I would recommend putting it there in that service station. Thank you.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none, call for the question, please.
Vice Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Councilman Cutler,
Yes.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilman Brooks,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biedermeyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler,
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Aye. At this time, we have a public hearing for rezoning and the comprehensive plan amendment. Ms. Clary?
Yes, thank you. Staff is requesting the rezoning of this property from heavy industrial to downtown, which is in line with the neighboring properties. The only proposed addition would be a shed that would house the tourism golf cart. This conditional official zoning map amendment, which is the rezoning. The property is currently being used for retail sales, which is permissible in the downtown zoning district by right. A comprehensive plan amendment, which is the future land use map amendment. Because the lot lines that make up these two parcels were abandoned to create these two parcels, the designation on the future land use map needed to be updated as well to represent the new parcel shapes. The historic district downtown mixed use will still front on Main Street, and the historic district residential will still front on Cedar Street. This application was favorably recommended to Town Council as one parcel with the future land use map designation of historic district downtown mixed use. Staff still supports the designation of two parcels with the historic district downtown mixed use fronting Main Street, along with the historic district residential fronting on Cedar Street. Any change in the future land use map that's not in line with what we advertise would have to be re-advertised as well.
Thank you, Ms. Clary.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this matter? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the will of council, please?
If I may for a second, I know Planning Commission talked about this and their recommendation was that it be done as one parcel. I'm going to recommend that we originally proposed it as two separate parcels, which is what it is today. There's several reasons that we would recommend you still do it that way. We currently have a lease on the building up front, so if we combine it all in one parcel, that lease would then encompass everything and not just the building that we're already leasing. If in the future council for some reason ever decides to sell off that building, we would then have to re-subdivide it. If we wanted to create parking in the back, there's tons of reasons why it's a good idea to keep the parcels separate versus combining them into one joint parcel. So that's the only thing I would say from staff's perspective is it still would be our recommendation that you allow us to keep it two separate parcels for those reasons. If there's questions around that, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
I have a few. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
Well, so if we understand where you're coming from with the two parcels, can they both be the historic district downtown mixed use rather than, I know the back one is considered historic district residential. We had a big discussion at the committee meeting regarding that, and I think even though by right that back part could still be used as residential, I think there were several of us that had concerns about advertising it, that it was residential.
Right. The key point there is that's just the future land use map designation, not the actual zoning designation. So, could you? Yes, but we'd have to go re-advertise because the way that the future land use map change was in the advertisements was for it to be that way. It doesn't change the underlying zoning and what could or couldn't be there, and it was done that way so it kind of aligned with what else was around it. As long as the town owns it, there's no expectation that we would ever do anything residential with that parcel.
Gotcha.
And also, if I may add, with some discussion this evening, it would be up to town council if they wish to engage in with a developer in order to sell that property. And we could potentially put safeguards in that sale agreement that they were to not construct residential, that they would be able to construct a commercial structure, at which point if they violated any terms of those agreements, then we would, regain the property. And so there are additional safeguards for whatever the future may house for that property, whatever the future town council or current town council wishes to see that.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Cullen.
Mr. Stallings.
Yes, sir.
You said all reasons to keep it as two parcels, all the good reasons, but the only bad thing you said was the lease concern. Are there any other negative effects of keeping it as one or making it one parcel? Because I find a lease to be something that, we can write anything in a lease, any condition that we'd like. We have parking there now, so.
Right, but what I'm saying is if you combine it into one parcel, the existing lease, we have in place would then mean that we're leasing the entire parcel to the business owner. We would have to rewrite that lease to designate where her property, where she's leasing from us ends. Whereas right now, that's not an issue because there's a property line there.
Right, but is that difficult? I mean, we have to write a lease anyway, so we have an attorney that would write it and say, okay, here's what you're leasing. I mean, I don't see...
Not necessarily difficult, but I just don't see the benefit of combining it into one parcel. I don't, that's what I'm not seeing is why there's a benefit to make it one parcel.
I think the difficulty in the future is the benefit, and I think the other question I have is, I may be misunderstanding, but it looks like the staff and the Planning Commission are not making the same recommendation. Is that correct?
Planning Commission recommended that it be done as one parcel, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And in the Flume recommended Historic District Downtown Mixed Use. So I'm trying to understand why Planning Commission made this recommendation, and it's not really, well, it's pretty clear to me that the Planning Commission made a solid recommendation to the council, and it's not clear at all why they're still at odds with the staff.
Staff is concerned about the additional expense in the advertising and the additional expense that we would incur to then resurvey the property and re-record when ultimately anything that happened with this property would be in the hands of town council.
But that begs the question that if the Planning Commission was making a recommendation as they were, why was it advertised as it was such that we would have that expense? Why wasn't it advertised to give us that option to begin with?
It was
now
already...
we've forced ourselves to incur a cost to follow the Planning Commission's recommendation. That doesn't really make any sense.
It was already advertised as Planning Commission as those two separate designations, and so that's why it continued on. Even if town council wanted to keep it as staff recommended, then we do not have to incur those additional advertising expenses. If town council wants to change the future land use map designation, then what we advertise, we do have to go back to the beginning and re-advertise for that.
But that would be what the Planning Commission recommended, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I want to be clear that the by right uses in the zoning district dictate what is developable on that piece of property.
Yeah.
The Planning Commission, though, seemed very well aware of that. And the Planning Commission's concern, that was other commissioners' concerns, that the way that I understood it was the steps of combining the property into one parcel and future land use map as historic district downtown mixed use. Everything that the town staff said tonight is correct, that we could zone it residential if we want to, and it would take action in the future to do something about it. But we also know the future land use map is an advertisement for what the town wants the land to look like in the future. And the Planning Commission's recommendation was to not make it look like a residential lot in the future.
Question. Do you recall the vote, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, please.
The vote of the Planning Commission?
I believe it was a unanimous vote.
Yeah, I don't know that I personally have an issue with what the future land use map calls it. That's not my concern. My concern is whether it's one parcel versus two. So if you want to make it one parcel, but yet still go through that process to redo the future land use map to make it, whatever you want it to be, that doesn't give me a whole lot of heartburn. It's having it be two parcels versus one.
So can we clarify then? So there is no additional cost with writing a lease, because we have to write a lease with this tenant all the time. So there's really no additional cost there. So what is the additional cost to make it into one parcel? So surveying?
Yeah, we would have to have the lot resurveyed to show a plat with no boundary line in the middle, and we would have to redo the future land use map amendment to show it as one parcel. So those are the changes.
So the cost would be surveying. And what approximately would that cost be?
I don't know what the cost was on this one. I mean, it's going to be
about $1,000.
somewhere in that ballpark.
How much?
And
$1,000.
And the advertising cost?
We're probably going to be $400 to $800, somewhere in that ballpark.
And the recordation fees.
So I acknowledge those costs. They are costs, but they are low costs. But if we argue with them as a barrier to proceeding with the Planning Commission's recommendation, you can also see that it would create the same barrier to going against the creation of their recommendation, if that makes sense. Right, we would have to then, again, spend that cost to go back to 2 lots. And that's part of the barrier to preventing that, I think, that they were recommending.
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm very, very cognizant of cost, and I don't like to spend money, but at the same time, if we're, in all due respect to staff, I don't think that cost should be a barrier, especially when we're talking about this amount of cost, a barrier to what we think we should do as the right thing. We've received guidance from the Planning Commission. It was a unanimous vote. I just, at this juncture, think that what the Planning Commission has suggested is the right way to go. I'll just leave it at that.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, please.
I'd like to echo what Mr. Bowman said and what Mr. Cutler said a moment ago. Cost should not be a consideration here. And more importantly, because we have talked about this time and time again when we've talked about the future land use map, we want to make sure that when people pick that up, they understand what our expectations are and the parameters that we are setting here at Town Council. And as Darren has correctly pointed out, even though we could manipulate, do this and do that, the upfront look is going to be, this could potentially be residential. And that's not something that I would vote for. So.
I know personally that we've had some confusion about this and trying to understand where we're going, but does anybody else have any comments on this at this time?
This,
Mr. Cullen?
well, I was just going to make the recommendation. The only vote we could have is the vote on what we advertised. So if we're not going to, we could make a motion to not pass. I don't know if we need to do that, if we just need to give direction to the staff to re-advertise and move forward. And that's what you're about.
Yeah, that's,
Thank you.
yeah, I think so procedurally, what we would want to do is we'll go back and rerun the advertisement for this alternative future land use map change. I just want to clarify though that what Town Council wants to see is an advertisement to have one future land use map designation, which is the downtown mixed use district for the entire parcel, and have it shown as one parcel. But the same, we're not changing the zoning district designation to downtown. We're keeping that as is. Revised to advertise the future land use map designation, and we'll depict it as one parcel. But this is just the zoning application, so the boundary lines are your choice to do administratively with your property. You just need to, as Mr. Stallings pointed out, get a survey, record a new plat, vacate that boundary line, and before we do that, we'll need to work with the property owner to make clear that we are not expanding the lease to encompass the entire parcel. But so my understanding is the direction for Town Council is to get this on your agenda as soon as possible, re-advertised for one future land use map, and then I will work with staff to do the boundary line vacation and the lease adjustment.
But we still want to do the rezoning because currently it's zoned industrially. We want to change it to downtown.
So it'll be as depicted to the public for the next public hearing, one parcel, change the future land use map to the one designation mixed use, and then the rezoning is to downtown for the one parcel. Is that correct?
But we need to vote on
I would say you can just defer, make a motion to defer. We'll move this, and then we can clean it up in the vote. Say we've amended the application, we've re-advertised, and then you vote on the amended application.
That would be my sentiment.
Yeah, okay.
Mine as well.
Appreciate that. So we'll move this to earliest possible meeting next time to discuss further.
Can this happen in the December meeting, right?
It's going to have to go back to Planning Commission.
Yeah, I'll want to look at that to confirm,
So
to see.
It may be January.
Yeah.
Or can we advertise it simultaneously since we're both on the same page?
If that saves us time, we could do that.
Yeah, well, I'll work with staff to find the most expeditious way to get it back before you for a public hearing. And whether we need to go, short of having a joint meeting with the planning commission, figuring out the fastest way to get it back to you.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie. So tonight, we're not going to be voting on this public hearing at all then. We'll move that along. Now, new business. Anyone have any new business? Hearing none. Old business?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may. Now that the bridge has been reopened, I'd like to ask the mayor to have the town manager re-engage in an aggressive discussion with VDOT as to what we can do to begin to mitigate some of the issues that we have with traffic in town, to look again at the possibilities of a study or a closer look at reduction of speed, better signage, safer signage on cross streets, particularly Grace. Glad to report that the traffic has been reduced to a steady stream instead of the lockdown. But we sort of backburnered all of that while the bridge is under, and it's time for us to take a better look at that. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, if I may chime in on that. Additionally, South Church Street between, I guess, where the 25 ends and maybe out to Town Bank or Royal Farms, I think that would, if we could reduce the speed limit there to 25, I think it would be an enhancement to our community and allow better access outside of the historic district to get in, as well as more safe, as well as getting in more safely as far as foot traffic or bicycle traffic from all the neighborhoods there along the reaches of South Church Street.
Ms. DeFamata, did you have a comment?
To Vice Mayor Harris, I think if we're going to look at Gray Street, we also need to look at Cedar Street as well, all the downtown, James Street,
exactly.
that whole
Yeah, I've got
area.
downtown written.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other further discussion?
And Mr. Mayor, just before we leave, Chief, Assistant Chief, another great job. Speaking not just as Vice Mayor, as a member of the council, but a guy that happens to live down there. Gray Street was very safe. We heard the exact same report back about Main Street as well. It's a wonderful night with Halloween, and we appreciate that very much.
Any other discussion? I have one thing I'd like to comment on, the new lighting that we have now in the streets that's been put in. It's absolutely remarkable. It was so bright that I had requested Jeff Smith to come down and do some striping on ours, so I could go to sleep at night. He did a great job, and he was ahead of me on that, but I really appreciate it, and these lights are absolutely beautiful. It's another beautification of downtown Smithfield. Any other additional discussion? Hearing none.